And he gave me an appointment for the following day.
Yeah.
So the following day, early in the morning, in his car, and we went Nandaga, and it was okay. It wasn't something so big. It was maybe like this.
Yeah.
Nenga inamo 2 televisions. Okay, nga ine bitandikibwako biki.
It's the size of a garage.
And it was good.
Yeah. Cozy and small and cozy.
Yes. Nenga the drinks tazirimo bichi, but everything else was there. So he tells me he would like to put me in charge.
Yeah, manager.
And this was engage it was even beyond manager. He was like,
wanted you to run it like it was your own business.
And actually that's exactly what he said. Yeah. He told me, I'm going to give you this business running. Because yakalina, and I think kali kagwa. So ngayagala reviving. And he told me, I'm giving it to you with literally everything.
Yeah, in it.
You know the prices and everything. You make a budget or jimpe. And eranga bwenna jimuwa bwe yabikola ki bwe yabireeta tutekamu, and I started. So nembeeranga I got some of my girls and ali neesiga to nembatwala eri. So nembanga she didn't know because yajanga regular. Yajanga regular kati kye nakolanga I would wake up early in the morning. Oba ne wetuba tumaze late nga waliwo asobola okunvugana ntwala eri nga ntwala either nensulayo nenkera ku makya nenzigulawo and everything nensiibayo kati nengera nti sawa 10.
Oh, so it was a daytime thing?
No, it was full. Naye nga bwegambe I had taken my 2 girls there when I didn't nesiga. So I would be there during day.
Yeah.
Evening nenzije eno gye bamanyi gye nnokukola nembalekayo.
So you were running 2 jobs?
Yes.
Hey, American.
I was running 2 jobs and the other one was actually paying like sentes tegerekeka.
But yali ladder.
Yeah. I must say. So nemberanga anchikola bwentyo.
Yeah.
But ngera bwe wagambye nti at the end of the day we are people.
Yeah.
Tuli bantu. These very girls benafunire emirimu.
Yes.
They ramped mabega.
Yeah.
But andikana kundopa
wa madam.
Yes, so we started getting issues. Nentuketsaranga sikyasobola be balancing nga two nga oyinza oba oli eri emisana ne bagamba nti ayingiddewo abruptly because she wants to confirm.
Noddoka emisinde.
Yes, nga nina okubeerawo and obviously engeri like state gy'ovuddemu okujja okuva eri okujja wano she can tell towaddeyo wane. So nembeeraawo bwentyo. So now when you're in a bar business, you connect with these people, you become friends with them. You get acquainted with them. With the bar people? Yes.
The customers?
Yes. And I got customers like diehard. If it's not who's serving me, I'm not. Yes. And they said, these are drunkards, they have solida. So, never vie. Never dirige Jenada. In attention kudida. Kanatenga, I'm going to be balancing the time was just over Kolachi. Yeah. Kati Lumu, they are Mwaliwa Balongo, they were twins. Never, never Jerry. So they came visited me. I'm sorry. What's your month? Your month of birth? Your month, not the year. I know what you mean. Yeah. What's your month? But why am I saying so? I'm using Feb. Let me explain shortly why it's like that. Yeah. Tugenda okuva mu kyalo tumaze ziika maama batuleeta eno nga wengambe nti ono wabaali na ssente. So biri betwajja nabyo nga it's old news. Yeah. Tetwasigazako n'ekimu. Ebimu baabyokyo tulaba. Yeah. So time came, we are registering for school and everything. They are asking for information ey'okuteekamu tebagimanyi. So we forged. Nebatugamba, you're going to use this. Then they also told my boy they're going to use this. So I'm using Feb because it's what the documents say, but it's tetumanyi wachecho. You don't know your birthday? Yes. General. By the time we came this side, I was still little. Because that's why I very much appreciate.
You're about to discover your birthday, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think somebody could come out of nowhere and tell you what your real birthday is. You know why?
Why?
Because I've done a lot of reading. I'm a spiritual person. I've done a lot of reading on spirituality. Okay. The Bible is my best friend ever since I was 5 years old. Bakanyakundaba, but every day I know the verses of the Bible. When it comes to protective verses from Psalms 91 to, I for protection from the Genesis. If you go to my my socials, you said I have different protective. Like those that are my protective verse that when Banjagala protection, I'm going to start from Genesis. Okay. From a beginning, from when from when God, chose to have me into this in this universe up to Revelation. You get it? When He said, "I have us now." People confessed. Yeah, people will confess. Okay. You understand that they'll confess with their mouth. That protection is you're covered by all means necessary. That the Lord is your dwelling place. That no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Like that. You can even see how He got, Peter from prison. What Job went through, and eventually he became the what he became. So God loves to shield us. It's a protection, a period of protection. For you in your head right now, you are probably telling yourself, Simani, and I do not know why I asked you for your birthday, for your birth month, but maybe there's something there that you discover your birthday because people like using people's birthdays in evil. Yeah, that they take your birthday to that place. Okay. I don't want to give it power. Then they do things with it, that one. Then they disorganize your life, and so God shields you. And I've not seen only you. There's so many people who do not know their birthdays. But they tend to discover their birthdays later. And I can assure you, the day you discover your birth month, your actual birth month, you'll call me and thank me. It's going to be another stage of your life. But let's go back to what you were talking about.
All right. I was talking of after the proposal and everything. Yeah. So eventually, when these twins come, so this particular bar that I had gotten the other side had cameras and everything. So this one time, it so happened that particular day that the twins appeared, and we stayed, had a chat and everything. Yeah. Then they left. Actually, they left even before me. So after I closed, actually I didn't close. I left other people working and went back to the other bar. Yeah. Next day, know what happens?
They threw you out.
My phone is buzzing. So I get the call. I'm like, hello, how are you? What's up? And you know what had happened? They had broke into the other bar and had taken most of everything, like most things.
The man's bar?
Yes. They had taken most of the things and people started speculating, okay, rumors.
You sent thieves?
Yes, they said I sent thieves and what. And among the Afandes I had talked about earlier, some remained my friends. Yeah. So one calls me, he's like, you come at my place, I want to tell you something. I'm like, you've never invited me to your place, what is happening? So I go, reaching there, guy tells me, oh, Liz, how are you? I'm okay, I'm good, how is life? We chat, buys drinks, and then after me relaxing,
he gives you the bomb.
You're unwanted.
Simba wakati. I'd said this was going to be the last episode, but looks like we're going into episode number 5. Please bear with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Kampala, the night run is back. 8th May. Let's up and head to Circuit Lounge Kololo for the Tusker Light Neon Run, Uganda's only after dark race. Neon lights, great music, cold Tusker Light, and a city that runs together after dark. 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, you choose. One night, pure energy. Ignite the light, be there. Tusker Light Neon Run, 8th May 2026, Circuit Lounge Kololo.
Cooking all that makes food sweet. Tastes so good like mama's keys. Sweet tamasana, yeah. Stir God, it's the oil you cooking oil for a tasty meal to live a healthy, happy life. Stir God, refined, fortified, blended pure vegetable cooking oil, second best to a mother's love.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
For 60 years, Uganda Warigi has been part of our biggest moments. From the manyatas to the evening bars of Chirekabanda, being Ugandan is finding angles anywhere. We buy this, sip that, kasavu kanyama. We chapa kazi by day and kuna dance through the night. That's the spirit of being UG.
Is that a UG? Yes, it is. Well, if it's UG, let's go cheers.
Uganda Warigi, the spirit that binds us.
Does science build the economy? At National Science Week 2026, see innovations that transform industries, create jobs, and drive Uganda towards a $500 billion economy. Smart investors, discover what works and where to invest. The event runs from 30th April to 3rd of May 2026. The theme, STI Works, powering Uganda to a $500 billion economy. Don't just watch the future, invest in it. Brought to you by the Science, Technology and Innovation Secretariat, STI, making Uganda the best.
Welcome back from that short break. We'll just dive into it. There are other episodes, prior episodes that you can watch To get the preamble for now, allow us. Continue. You are now unwanted.
Yeah, I'm unwanted, and just to sum it up shortly, he lets me off the hook because he's a friend.
Yeah.
He actually showed me the proof, and they had signed everything. So eventually, he helps me out, gives me even transport, and tells me to go hide. So I don't go back to even the other bar.
You leave everything.
Yes,
another start.
Yes.
This
go.
Journey.
So after going, there is a family I was staying with. They are friends. So I stayed there for some good time. That's when I took another step and started cohabiting with this one guy.
Another guy.
Not another guy, he's the first guy I was cohabiting with.
Okay, you started dating another guy.
Okay.
It's the second guy you dated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but we were talking even when I was still working this side, and we'd be like, Kali, we were just weekend. Because I'm this person, however much but I had gotten addicted to working.
Independence.
Yes, and however much he was there and he was providing, I'm not this person, Sharon. So complex. I feel so. So eventually, someone connected me to some other job in Lubugum, Kakola. So and it was paying to the point I started helping some other little ones. I was not paying their school fees. Everything that they would be like, but I was feeling happy doing that.
The satisfaction of that. Yeah. So this time,
so I helped them and all that. Trying to cut it short, ntuuka ndwala. Mukulwala nga sikyasobola kukalakawanya mirimu gyange ogirina kubeera. So my boss started complaining and all that, and I didn't know what the problem was. Naye kati jjukira eri yonna nkoze in the bar. Ne one on Wednesday it was a bar, it had a bar, watunda pork, waliwo lodge and everything. It was a bit diverse. So this time round, big bro angangwa kangamba naye, I want to see where you're working. And Eddie enough for all the time I was working at a man.
Yes.
So this time I'm coming.
I want to see,
So however much I was getting the money, and you know, at times I would even chip in and help him. So this time he comes. Actually, there is an OB in that area, and they were in the same class with my bro. So so he comes. So ngankubira mbuzo okola ngamulima ngamba fine kitufu kwaliwe bala bichi biki nayatenze sikola ki sikola mbala, and it was the truth. Nali sikola mbala, I was working on this other side nengera it's the same thing oli ina wa mukakasa. Yes. So he comes even that day when he came na mwane kusindi naye agenda ngamba kintu kimu, if people find out that you're working here,
from that stage to the next one.
Kati nvaayo nzirayo ewagayi mbeerayo in the night obulumi ne busu.
NBS. Always. NBS Live at 9.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Live at 9 tonight. My name is Sheila Tsime, joined by Michael Jagwe for sign language interpretation. Let's get into the headlines. In the news tonight, deadly Mbale building collapses, leaves one dead and several feared trapped.
Of course, taking over from Umeme.
UEDCL board chair and managing director sacked in major shake-up over governance failures. Death sentence in Gaba child murder case sparks nationwide debate on capital punishment and Uganda's lengthy legal process.
Then that sentence commutes, which means it changes from death sentence to life imprisonment.
An industrial park, we must get land nearby.
Debate emerges over President Museveni's Labour Day proposal of forcing investors to build workers' housing in Uganda.
There are two problems that people who work in the factories face. The first is the low pay.
Now there should be a minimum pay.
And the good news is
there's a lot of effort that is being done to promote the destination.
Uganda expands global tourism footprint through growing Turkey collaboration.
And the visit of these Turkish operators is to learn more about the destination.
Also, it's my first time experiencing this beauty.
This is NBS Live at 9 with Sheila Tsime.
It is the 2nd of May and once again welcome to Live at 9 tonight. Let's get into the story. The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Dr. Ruth Nankabira Sentamu, has sacked the top leadership of the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited in a major crackdown on governance failures. The minister announced the decision via her X handle that the managing director is undergoing investigations. Currently, the minister has appointed Stella Marie Biwaga as the interim board chairperson of UEDCL, replacing Lydia Ocheng Obo.
In a directive issued on 2nd May 2026, the Minister for Energy announced the immediate termination of the board chairperson's contract, Lydia Ocheng Obo, and the removal of the managing director, Paul Mwesigwa, who has been sent on forced leave. These high-level dismissals, according to the latter, follow a series of internal reviews that identified significant gaps in accountability and institutional performance within the state-owned utility. By sacking the board chair and sidelining the managing director, the government aims to clear the way for a thorough investigation into the company's operation without a risk of interference. The minister described the move as a necessary measure to reinforce service delivery and ensure that the utility remains transparent and efficient in its post-Umeme era operations. An interim board chairperson and an acting managing director have been appointed to run UEDCL while the government begins the search for permanent replacements. These interim officials are tasked with stabilizing the workforce and maintaining technical standards while the comprehensive audit of the previous administration's conduct is finalized. Despite the turbulence at the executive level, Nankabira has strongly assured the public that electricity distribution will remain stable. She emphasized that the person for Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited.
President Yoweri Museveni's promise to low-cost housing for workers has drawn mixed reactions, with critics saying it has come too late and appears like an afterthought. They argue that forcing investors to build houses for workers, especially those in factories, is unrealistic since even the government itself lacks capacity to do so. They add that more attention should instead be given to addressing workers' wages and conditions under which they operate. We'll be going back to that story later on. Moving on, the death sentence handed to Okello Christopher Onyum by the High Court for the murder of 4 Gaba daycare children has sparked renewed debate on capital punishment in Uganda and the procedures that follow such a ruling. Although provided for under the law, experts note that a death sentence marks the beginning of a lengthy legal and administrative process, including possible appeals, Supreme Court review and a final decision by the President before it can be carried out.
On Thursday this week, the High Court convicted Okello Christopher Onyum on 4 counts of murder linked to the killings in the Gaba Early Childhood Development Center and sentenced him to death. The judgment has generated mixed reaction, with some members of the public expressing satisfaction while others question what follows after a death sentence. Legal experts say capital punishment remains lawful in Uganda and may be imposed for most serious offenses, including murder and terrorism.
Capital offenses are offenses that tend to be higher in stature. Many times they will involve a lot of violence.
And one of them is murder, aggravated robbery, treason, defilement.
Kajwala Christopher, a lawyer, notes that the death penalty is reserved for capital offenses and is not applied arbitrarily. He adds that Uganda executes convicts by hanging, unlike other jurisdictions that use methods such as lethal injection and firing squad.
From April 1999 to 30th of April, when Okello was convicted and sentenced to death, no any other person has ever been convicted, sentenced, and hanged as a punishment.
If someone is sentenced to death and confirmed under the Supreme Court and all these procedures have taken place, and they are not executed within 3 years, and then that sentence commutes, which means it changes from death sentence to life imprisonment. So instead of being executed, you end up serving the rest of your life in jail.
Jude Byamukama, a lawyer, explains that several legal steps follow the death sentence, including the right of appeal within a set period. If no appeal is filed, the Supreme Court reviews the sentence for confirmation before it proceeds further. Should it be upheld, the case is referred to the Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy, which advises the President on whether to enforce, commute, or pardon the sentence.
When it comes to the death sentence, the Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy is required by Section 35 of the Judicature Act to advise the President whether to go ahead and implement that sentence by signing a death warrant or not to sign it.
Legal experts also note that Uganda has not carried out executions of civilians since 1999, with many death sentences often commuted to life imprisonment after long delays. They are now calling for a clearer and more consistent handling of death row cases.
Now, with less than 14 days in office, Gulu City's current leadership leaves behind a budget of over 40 billion shillings for the financial year 2026-2027, with looming court cases, revenue leaks and unfinished projects. We look at the last days for the leadership and what lies ahead. Looking at the performance of Gulu City, we look at roadworks. A total of 28.8 kilometers remains unfinished, with others not started, totaling to 770 million shillings. Moving on to the court cases, an estimated cost of 2 billion still unsettled, and the local revenue collection only 2.6 billion collected out of the planned 7 billion shillings. Moving to the government transfers, 22.6 billion shillings out of the budgeted 30.8 billion. And on to staffing in the city, that stands at 37%.
With a budget of over 40 billion shillings for the financial year 2026-2027, Gulu City Council is at the cornerstone with its budget performance, implementation and managing revenue as the current leadership hands over 18 days from now. In its vision of 2025-2026 budget, many things did not go as planned.
Out of 100 of the court cases we have not concluded even half or 50% of it. And when you are to look at the status of these other prominent court cases that we have, it is so enormous that if not handled well, it's likely going to pinch council.
We have corrupt leaders.
and even corrupt staff.
Myself, I took councillors, over 70 of them, to State House because our money was going to remain in the consolidated accounts of government, of central government.
To the mayor, as he hands over to the new leadership on the 18th of May, he leaves behind cases of revenue leaks which have affected resource mobilization for the service implementation in the city.
We need to have a system that can prevent corruption. If we have a system that can prevent corruption, then fighting corruption becomes a little bit easy. We have passed a resolution that no money should be given without the receipt. And all payment must be made in what? In bank.
People getting money and spending them without having them registered onto the system. We have got HIRAS, we have got IFMIS, we have got all these sets of electronic mode of revenue collections. But still, that is in existence.
With over 20 cases at the High Court of Gulu, the city risks losing its movable assets and property, which could be attached in the court cases.
The one we inherited is the one we are still battling because we don't have money to pay all of them. And that is the only cases now we are struggling to clear because resources are not enough.
In the last days in office, the leaders are hopeful of better days ahead as they plan for transition and call for steadfast decision in the new government.
We have now projects which we are leaving on pipelines, and I need to make sure that these projects should be implemented to the dot so that the city take off. We did our best in terms of services to our people.
In the level of our implementations of such projects from the central government, we have been too good, more than any other local government institutions. We are on record.
Now looking at the performance of Gulu City, when we move onto the roads, a total of 28.8 kilometers remains unfinished, with others not started, totaling to 770 million shillings. Looking at the court cases, an estimated cost of 2 billion still unsettled, and local revenue collection standing at only 2.6 billion collected out of the planned 7 billion shillings. Government transfers stand at 22.6 billion shillings out of the budgeted 30.8 billion shillings, and the staffing in the city stands at only 37%. Now, our Northern Uganda Bureau Chief Benson Ongom joins us tonight. Benson, how will the new leadership pick up from the unfinished business of the current leaders, and what remains unresolved in this current administration?
Financial year 2026-2027, Gulu City Council has passed a budget of 40 billion shilling, focusing some of the things like infrastructure in the city, putting water and wastage in the right places. But one of the key challenges that remain is the question of accountability, the question of managing the different court cases. About 90% of the cases in Gulu City has not been settled. But also one key issue that remain unanswered by the old leadership, but also a challenge to the new leadership, is how you're going to widen the tax base within Gulu City. But some of the things that we've been able to see in the budget is focusing on tourism in the city, the one to renovate some of the key infrastructure that we see in the city, but also pride in a Chuli sub-region. One of them is Pechewo Stadium. They want to renovate it to focus on tourism. How will the new leadership focus and build from where the old leadership has left is one big question. And we continue to tell these stories as they unfold.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni's promise to low-cost housing for workers has drawn mixed reactions, with critics saying it has come too late and appears like an afterthought. They argue that forcing investors to build houses for workers, especially those in factories, is unrealistic, since even the government itself lacks capacity to do so. They add that more attention should instead be given to addressing workers' wages and the conditions under which they operate.
On Labour Day, President Yoweri Museveni announced that every new investor coming into the country will be required to construct houses for workers, and if they fail to do so, the government, through the National Housing Body, will step in. Though this appears to be a step in the right direction, Kira Municipality MP Ibrahim Semajunganda says the President's directive is long overdue and impractical He notes that even the National Housing Institution mentioned does not have sufficient capacity.
You can't ask an investor who has come to Uganda because of cheap labor now to begin constructing houses. Even Museveni, who is making that call, he came here when almost all government parastatals had housing. So the housing units, almost every government parastatal had a housing unit. Museveni started by selling all of them.
Buchimbiri County MP Eddie Kwizera says that if the president's proposal is to be implemented, it must be backed by clear law to guide investors, something he believes is currently not feasible.
It means they are going to amend the industrial policy and investmental policy. And every investor who comes to the country looks for land which is enough for the factory establishment and also for settlement or for accommodation.
A stringent investment guidelines, and one of it, before you get a license, you must have decent, affordable housing inspected by the government of Uganda.
The legislators agree that the only effective way to address worker exploitation is by improving working conditions, starting with better pay.
There are two problems that people who work in the factories face. The first is the low pay.
Now there should be a minimum pay in those industries, so that the minimum pay can cater for either accommodation outside the factories or can provide decent accommodation where the workers stay.
According to World Bank statistics, out of Uganda's 15 million working age population, only about 40% are employed, and most of those earn very low wages. Currently, Uganda has not operationalized a national minimum wage, despite the existence of the Minimum Wages Advisory Board framework.
Now, after being displaced by the standard gauge railway project in Toro district, dozens of families say they are still trapped in hardship without compensation, now living in cramped rental houses and struggling to survive. The affected residents are demanding government intervention, warning they could return to the disputed land if their concerns continue to be ignored. However, SGR officials maintain the group is still under verification to establish whether they were among the genuine project-affected persons at the time of land acquisition, noting that the matter is being handled.
About 2 kilometers away from the Standard Gauge Railway project in Nyangole Sub-County, Toro District, we meet 63-year-old Benti Ogema, a single mother of 6 and one of the residents affected by the project. Benti says she and several others were evicted from their land before receiving compensation, forcing them to seek shelter elsewhere as they waited for government payment. Today, she lives in this tiny rented house where she pays 30,000 shillings monthly despite struggling to survive.
I have become a refugee in my own country because Standard Gauge has refused to compensate me. I'm keeping people's children. I'm keeping my children. I have nowhere to stay. I don't have money for rent.
Inside this house, Benti stays with more than 20 people, including her children and orphans under her care. Providing food and other basic needs has become a daily struggle, with the family sometimes surviving on just one meal a day.
At times we go hungry and we take tea or water and sleep because there's nothing.
Benti's situation reflects the frustrations of at least 59 families who say they were displaced by the Standard Gauge Railway project but are still waiting for compensation despite repeated promises.
We have documents. We've gone to the Ministry of Land and PS Doka Sokalani. In her wisdom, wrote to SGR through Ministry of Works. General Katumba Wamala saw this letter. I am so surprised that we are being tossed around. Many people have died.
The frustrated residents are now threatening to return and resettle on the disputed land if government continues to remain silent on their plight.
Nobody is going to allow the SGR to take off when people are not compensated. For our land, we are going to do whatever it takes to see that everybody is given money.
However, in a phone interview, SGR spokesperson David Olele said the project office is still verifying whether the affected group genuinely owned land within the project area, adding that the matter is being handled.
The Office of a Resident District Commissioner echoed this same position, saying government is aware of the concerns raised by the affected families.
We have shared with the management team of Standard Gauge Railway, and they are aware. So their plight is being handled at that management level. We hope in the coming days something will be done to address their problem.
For now, the affected families say their only hope is for government to fulfill its promise of compensation so that they can rebuild their lives and secure a permanent place to call home.
Feedback brought to you by.
They are designed to support your growth. Visit absa.co.ug for personal loans that help where it matters. ABSA, your story matters.
Now we get to look at your feedback for tonight, and we start with the question for tonight's feedback. What more needs to be done to make low-cost housing accessible and affordable for Ugandans? The hashtag is NBS Live at 9. Let's take a look at your feedback. We start with Derek Tarema, who says, remove or reduce VAT on key building materials, promote cheaper local materials, e.g. stabilize soil blocks, clay floors like those used by NGOs, invest in bulk incremental construction methods to reduce per unit cost, fix the cost of building materials. That is from Derek Taremwa. Now, moving on to the next person, we have Georgette, who says, before we get to building materials, the cost of land in Uganda is insane and is driven by corruption. Regulation of land pricing will bring down the cost of housing, promote use of affordable materials. Let's learn from our neighbors who are using low-cost materials. AJ says materials and fuel prices reduction. Okay, that is from AJ. We look at what will be coming up.
More to come, brought to you by
Blended pure vegetable cooking oil, second best to a mother's love.
Now, later on in the bulletin, we'll be looking at experts that have expressed mixed reactions on UAE's exit from OPEC, and that story will be coming up after the break. But right now, Live at 9 takes a short break, and we'll be back with more stories.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Total Energy has helped our groups. They support us to be trained in different skills like tailoring, bakery, and catering. We now have friendship and we can get loan. That loan can help us stay at home to pay school fees. So we thank them for giving us that skills and knowledge.
What I've liked the most about Total Football is like they don't segregate, because other companies they would maybe favor boys. Total is at least bringing both teams, therefore they are promoting gender equality in our society. We even had a dream like to form our team called the Total Energies.
I thank Total so much. What you have done has given them encouragement, strength, and power.
As Uganda prepares for
New Tusker Premium Cider. Crisp, delicious apples crushed and blended to create a unique taste explosion.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Welcome back. In other news, 8 aspirants have expressed interest in contesting for the Chikube District Chairperson seat ahead of the May 26th nominations organized by the Electoral Commission to replace former LC5 Chairperson Peter Banura, who died in an accident. Among those seeking nomination is Banura's brother, Philip Mbabazi Banet Chaligonza, who will face candidates from other parties. His candidature has raised concerns about the hereditary politics in the district.
Preparations are underway in Chikube District after the Electoral Commission set May 25th and 26th, 2026 for nomination of candidates contesting for the LC5 chairperson seat ahead of polls scheduled for June 10th, 2026. The family of former chairperson Peter Banura, who died in an accident, has fronted his brother Philip Mbabazi Banet Chaligonza for the race. He joins 7 other aspirants from different political parties who have expressed interest in the seat. Other aspirants include Chikube Vice Chairperson Vincent Opio Alpha, District Speaker Christopher Nkalu, NUP's Engineer Fenekasi Timanyire, Bunyoro NRM Mobilizer Michael Christopher Ayeranga, Pade Chisembo, Dixon Tusabe, and Rubasaliza Valentin. Several aspirants have opposed the move to have the late chairperson's brother take over, arguing the position is not hereditary and voters should freely choose a candidate of their choice.
We are requesting that kindly choose a leader who will unite us, a leader who will be able to exercise his constitutional mandate of fully representing the people.
So due to public demand, especially the task force of my late brother, Honorable Peter Banura, they chose to probably have someone from the Chaligonza family.
But we need Chikube District to also participate. We need everybody to participate from LOC1 up to the district level.
Chikube District Vice Chairman Vincent Opio says the district needs a competent leader, not leadership based on family ties.
But it is all about quality. It is not about personalities or background of somebody. It is all about who is there to deliver.
Aspirants are already outlining priorities they intend to address if elected.
I stand for democracy, peace, stability, and more especially to follow what the NRM manifesto moves on for.
I could bring Mexico here. There is so much that we can tap into. Even if it's 1, 2, 3 things I actually bring, it will be a litmus for the district.
My 15 years experience in the local governance as a district councillor, I think makes me a suitable candidate in this race.
I want to remove that thing of job selling.
Chikube District as a district is a young district which needs someone who shall implement a lot of activities. One of them, Chikube District, we don't have water.
The plan for Chikube District is 80%. I've already designed it socially, economically and politically.
The National Resistance Movement has already started the process of selecting its flag bearer, with voting scheduled for May 20th, 2026, according to NRM Electoral Commission Chairperson Dr. Tanga Odoi.
Tourism stakeholders are urging government to fully utilize Ugandan embassies and high commissions abroad to market the country's tourism potential, attract investors and strengthen trade and culture ties. They say diplomatic missions should play a bigger role in promoting Uganda's wildlife, culture, hospitality and business opportunities through exhibitions, tourism road shows and partnerships with international tour operators. The call comes as Uganda intensifies efforts to penetrate the Turkey tourism market following a successful 10-day familiarization trip to Turkey for Turkey tour operators organized by the Uganda Tourism Board, the embassy in Ankara and Turkey Airlines. The operators visited key attractions including Bwindi Impenetrable National Park and experienced gorilla trekking and cultural tourism. Officials say the initiative is already creating new business partnerships and increasing interest in Uganda as a preferred destination.
We had a roadshow in Turkey in about 5 cities, and we went meeting different travel agents from those cities, and we promised to host them in Uganda so they could get to know the products that Uganda offers. Now we are here and have experienced gorilla trekking. They are amazed. They are calling this the real Wakanda of the world. So why are we focusing on Turkey? So Turkey is one of the others that we are now trying to break through. And Turkey is one of those countries that gets so many tourists. The Turkish themselves travel around the world, and we have direct flights from Turkey every week. Every day of the week, there's a direct flight from Turkey to Uganda. So we saw that as a good advantage that we can work with to boost tourism arrivals.
At least one person has been confirmed dead and several others are feared trapped after a 4-story building under construction collapsed in Mbale City. Rescue operations are ongoing as teams search for survivors. Stakeholders have blamed the incident on poor workmanship and weak enforcement of construction safety standards and regulations at building sites. Police is investigating the matter and are hunting for the project engineer.
Residents of Namakwekwe woke up to shocking scenes after an incomplete storied building collapsed in their neighborhood. Witnesses described a terrifying moment with dust, debris and cries for help filling the air as the structure came down.
Around 2 a.m. we had a certain sound like a bomb like that coming down. With injuries, and we have lost also property in the house.
Neighbors say they managed to rescue 3 men alive from the rubble, where some workers were reportedly staying while others remain missing. A joint emergency response involving the Uganda Red Cross Society, police and city authorities together with local residents continued throughout the day. An excavator was deployed to clear debris as rescue teams searched for survivors. Elgon Region Police spokesperson Rogers Taitika confirmed that 1 male has been confirmed dead, with investigation still on and a search for the engineer.
Is now confirmed dead. As I speak, he has been transported to Mbale City Mortuary so that the postmortem is conducted. The other survivors, there is one called Emmanuel and Masaba Wilfred, then Ashraf.
Preliminary assessments point to poor workmanship as a possible cause of the collapse. Stakeholders have also blamed weak enforcement by city authorities, citing poor inspection of construction sites.
You cannot cast a slab of about 500 millimeters thickness and a solid slab, because I don't cite anything like a max span that should have been used to check the weight of the building. Then when you look at the bars that were used, they have used very small bars, 12 millimeter bars, and yet I suspect in approval, they tabled the structural drawings that indicated the kind of the structural members that were supposed to be used.
you can see that there was a lot of shoulder work.
As families await news of their loved ones, the incident has reignited concerns over construction safety standards and regulatory oversight.
Experts have expressed mixed reactions on UAE's exit from OPEC, with some saying that it could be an opportunity for Uganda as it is on the verge of becoming an oil exporter, while others insist that it may weaken global energy markets, disadvantaging Uganda, which is set to enter the global oil markets this year.
Uganda, the impact of global tensions is already visible. Higher shipping costs, supply uncertainty and disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz have pushed prices upward, feeding into inflation across transport, food and basic goods. Micro, small and medium enterprises have been hit the most.
Find that a barrel of crude oil is above $100, then this is a difficulty, and at some point it will have to trickle down to countries like Uganda, because Uganda is a net importer of petroleum products, and these price increases will have to be absorbed by us.
This is not limited to Uganda. The entire sub-Saharan Africa has been affected, and the International Monetary Fund has taken note.
While impacts vary widely across countries, it's hitting poor and fragile nations the hardest. As a result, our revised outlook for the region's economic growth is 4.3% for 2026.
Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates indicated that effective 1st May, it will exit the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, ending nearly 6 decades of a coordinated oil production policy. The United Arab Emirates is now breaking that model for a number of reasons, according to experts.
So they are investing to increase how much they can produce, but OPEC for a long time was constraining them.
So, Uganda faces a two-phase impact. First, high prices now driven by war, supply disruptions and shipping risks. Then potentially lower prices later.
That should also provide some pressure to lower those prices. But that will only be the conflict has been resolved.
Lower prices may sound like good news for consumers, but for Uganda, it's complicated. Uganda is on the verge of becoming an oil exporter. Its future revenues depend on strong, stable global prices. Energy experts say what the UAE has done is to signal a shift from coordinated control of oil markets, breaking a system where supply is managed, to one where countries compete on volume. So, what can sub-Saharan countries like Uganda do in this situation?
This is a time for caution, consistency, and credibility. Near-term priorities are to keep inflation expectations as well anchored as possible and protect the most vulnerable from higher living costs through targeted support. Countries need to accelerate structural reforms for growth and diversification.
Let's get online and see what our leaders are saying, and that is Social Spotlight. Ruth Nankabira Sentamu, Uganda's power supply remains stable and secure. However, to address emerging governance and accountability issues at Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited and strengthen oversight, the government of Uganda and the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development have undertaken targeted measures to safeguard service delivery and operational efficiency. These actions, led by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, are part of routine governance to reinforce accountability and institutional performance. I assure all Ugandans that electricity distribution services will continue uninterrupted during this transition. That is from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Winnie Byanyima, Africa carries a heavy disease burden but has been sidelined in global health decision-making for too long. I applaud Africa CDC's new high-level ministerial committee pushing for fairer, stronger global health governance. Uganda Investment Authority's Director General Mukiza Robert conducted a field visit to Staunch Machinery Uganda in Namave, gaining first-hand insight into how machinery innovation and investment are transforming the Kampala Industrial and Business Park into a vibrant production hub. Now, in our top stories tonight, a deadly Mbale building collapse leaves 1 dead and several feared trapped in Mbale. UEDCL board chair and managing director sacked in major shakeup, and death sentence in Gawa child murder case sparks nationwide debate on next lengthy legal process. Those were our top stories for tonight. Live at 9 takes another short break, and we'll be back with more stories.
Common 50 series, perfect snap, any zoom. Enjoy 9 GB free MTN data valid for 3 months. Available in any Techno or MTN outlet near you. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Cooking all that makes food sweet. Tastes so good like mama's keys. Sweet Tamasana, yeah. Stir God, it's the oil you cooking oil for a tasty meal to live a healthy, happy life. Stir God, refined, fortified, blended pure vegetable cooking oil, second best to a mother's love.
Better study tips. Scammers love posing as officials from banks or government agencies. Never share sensitive information with unsolicited callers. Hang up, find the official contact and verify their identity first. In partnership with Uganda Communications Commission and NBS.
Kampala, the night run is back. 8th May. Let's up and head to Circuit Lounge Kololo for the Tusker Light Neon Run, Uganda's only after-dark race. Neon lights, great music, cold Tusker Light, and a city that runs together after dark. 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, you choose. One night, pure energy. Ignite the light, be there. Tusker Light Neon Run, 8th May 2026, Circuit Lounge Kololo.
Welcome back. KCCA Executive Director Hajat Sharifa Buzechi has raised concern over poor sanitation in parts of Lubaga Division, warning of possible disease outbreaks. Speaking during the ongoing Weyonje cleanup campaign, she said the exercise targeted drainage channels, garbage collection, and the removal of illegal roadside kiosks and containers blamed for blocking public spaces and worsening sanitation conditions in the city.
Following concerns over worsening sanitation in parts of Kampala during the rainy season, the Kampala Capital City Authority, KCCA, has intensified the Weyonje cleanup campaign conducted under tight security with enforcement officers accompanying officials throughout the operation. Several shop owners were ordered to temporarily close and clean their premises after inspections revealed unhygienic conditions. Drainage channels were found clogged with waste, while some kiosks were reported to be infested with rats and other vermin. Traders operating illegal containers and roadside kiosks were instructed to remove them immediately. Those who resisted the operation were arrested and briefly detained by KCCA enforcement officers. KCCA Executive Director Sharif Abuzeki said the authority remains committed to both cleaning the city and sensitizing residents on proper sanitation and hygiene practices.
We engage the communities here on cleanliness. We've been able to evacuate waste from the community here. As you can see, our trucks are full.
Persons living with disabilities have raised concern over their continued exclusion from the workforce despite progressive laws aimed at promoting inclusion. Experts are now calling for urgent action to bridge the gap between policy implementation. These concerns were raised at the National ICT Symposium for Persons with Disabilities led at the Uganda Institute of Information and Communications Technology. Stakeholders noted that although many persons with disabilities have attended education and professional qualifications, they are still locked out of employment due to stigma and limited inclusive opportunities. Human rights advocate Dr. Nabotho Kole said Uganda has strong legal frameworks on disability inclusion, but enforcement remains weak. Participants also emphasized the role of ICT in expanding opportunities through remote work and digital services, though high costs of assistive technologies remain a major barrier.
Very big burden of unemployment. Even with those that have managed to go to school, they are not unemployed. They are unemployed. Why? Many employers focus on ability. They don't focus on ability. They focus on the disability. And it is challenging. A case in a point, if all employers have deliberate effort and they are intentional on the inclusion of persons with disability on duties, would have reduced a number of unemployment among persons with disability. Let me give a case in a point. Do I need to be working to respond to customer care calls? Do I need to be seeing to respond to customer care calls? But still, those opportunities that should be kept for persons with disability, you get the able-bodied people, they are occupying it. And guess what? The advantage with the person with disability, once he sits on that table, you will exhaustively exploit him. Why? He's not moving up and down. He will sit on that job and he will execute the mission. So I think all of us, if we deliberately and intentionally focus on the employment of persons with disability, trust me, it will be reduced terribly.
We believe that government, civil society, development partners, organizations for persons with disabilities, and persons with disabilities themselves have done the very best that they can in terms of empowerment. However, we think that if only we can leverage on ICT and emerging technologies, it would be a better position for persons with disabilities. Statistically, over 8 million of them to contribute to the digital economy, to also champion digital inclusion, and of course the larger picture of digital transformation.
Business Pulse, brought to you by
In business tonight, the Bank of Uganda Governor Michael Atingiego has signaled a shift in financial sector oversight, blending farm regulation with hands-on support for large savings and credit cooperative organizations. Speaking at the Abi Finance event, he launched 2 major sustainability initiatives that included the International Financial Reporting Standards S1 and S2 capacity building project with the Uganda Bankers Association and a Tier 4 environmental, social and governance framework with the Association of Microfinance Institutions of Uganda.
Initiatives that will fundamentally reshape how Uganda's financial sector measures, manages, and reports sustainability. Exactly 1 year ago, I stood before stakeholders outlining a vision that Bank of Uganda has adopted in 2025. It elevated not just the standards, but the consciousness, shifting sustainable finance from aspirations to operational realities. These efforts have laid the foundations upon which today's initiatives we are building on. Financial reporting standards, Sustainability 1 and Sustainability 2.
ABI believed in the industry over 9-10 years ago, when we came up with the concept of a shared agent banking platform. They gave us $1 million to build that infrastructure. At that time, there were under 1,000 branches in the country. Today, we have 27,222 agents across the country serving the economy.
Still in business, for years, artisanal tin miners in Isinjiro district have risked their lives in dark, narrow tunnels with little more than bare hands and rudimentary tools. But there is a ray of hope for artisanal miners. The Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency donated personal protective gears worth millions to tin artisanal miners in Isinjiro district to safeguard their lives, while district leaders and beneficiaries say the protective gears offer a lifeline that could finally reduce the accidents that have claimed lives and left others permanently disabled while extracting tin from the ground.
The mining sector sustains over 2 million people, making it a lifeline for rural communities. But that lifeline comes at a cost. Miners face deadly accidents in poorly structured pits, widespread mercury poisoning in gold mines, and a licensing system that remains out of reach for most. According to the Executive Director of the Uganda Association of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners, Kenneth Asimwe, the government's stringent documentation requirements have prevented most artisanal miners from obtaining licenses. This regulatory barrier has inadvertently promoted mineral smuggling.
Because they will mine in the night, go and hide, go and smuggle, because you've not supported them to mine responsibly. You are discriminating them using documents.
Asimwe says given the nature of their work, most artisanal miners have since lost their lives due to lack of protective equipment. However, the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency has come to their rescue and donated personal protective equipment worth millions to over 310 artisanal miners in Isinjiro district to safeguard their lives.
The concept of the project is technical support. As we can see, we as TICA, we have given support for the wheelbarrows, as a water tank.
District leaders have warned miners not to sell the donated safety gear, saying culprits will be arrested. Uganda's tin mining is largely concentrated in the southwestern districts of Ntungamo and Isenjuro. Though largely informal, Uganda
Absa Bank Uganda has unveiled a shillings 11 billion clean energy partnership with Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company to extend access to affordable clean energy financing on top of accelerating the adoption of renewable energy solutions in Uganda. The managing director of Absa Bank Uganda, David Wande, reveals that the partnership underscores the bank's commitment to supporting clients in their transition to clean energy while addressing climate-related risks across portfolios.
Right now we are working with specific large companies, and these large companies are going to help deliver this financing down to umuntu wa wansi. Whether it's a small company, whether it's an SME, whether it's an individual, but we're working through a large company which will on lend to enable people who are either doing on-grid, off-grid solar solutions, clean cooking, what UECCC calls productive use of energy, which is manufacturing, anything that you use in
but we can see all the companies that we have pre-qualified already, about 112 companies under our price subsidy program, which is also related. Under the price subsidy program, we are discounting prices for these technologies. So when we catalyze on the demand side, then we must also support the inflow of materials on the supply side. So we have about 113 companies that we have cleared to be able to sell products under the price subsidy program, and they can be able to borrow. But in addition, this facility is not just for those that are participating with us under the price subsidy program. It's also open to everybody.
In sport tonight, government has officially broken ground for the construction of a sports training facility at Lira University, a key project aimed at strengthening Uganda's readiness to co-host the 2027 African Cup of Nations alongside Kenya and Tanzania. The 13.2 billion facility will be constructed by the UPDF Engineers Brigade and is expected to be completed within 6 months, according to the State Minister for Sports, Peter Ogwangu, also handed over Pace Stadium, Gulu University grounds, now Hoima Boma grounds and Masindi Municipal grounds for construction.
After that, we're coming back to we have fulfilled all the requirements in line with the government protocols, and particularly we have got all the clearances required from the organs of government to have this project implemented. Secondly, Honourable Minister, like I mentioned yesterday and today in the morning, government has already released all the money, and yesterday we sent all the money for construction.
By 1st November, I should be handed over the facility as a training facility, fully finished. And now that you're taking over possession, you yourself, you're confirmed you've received the money. Now you tell me, what else do you want me to do besides beginning to ask?
I want to reiterate the issue of timelines. And I can tell you that from the 4th of this month, 3 days from now, we'll have an expert with Madam Wamboye coming from Kenya on behalf of CAF. We are going to be going around these different facilities, monitoring progress.
So as I assure you, the issue of quality, you don't need to worry. We're going to deliver. Take this opportunity and affirm to the population that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, has done a lot. He planned it a long time ago with his vision. He set up these construction units together with the army brigades. Wherever I say brigade, wherever I say division, there's a construction unit. So we have the capacity to do this work.
We are operating under very strict timelines. We either fail the country or we must deliver the country.
The cost of the project is 13.2 billion, which at National Council of Sports has already been paid.
We shall have a nice facility here, but we need also access to this facility. That is something that seems to have been missing in the discussion. If you truly want us to move our region, our city to the 21st century, we must mobilize the private sector to have hotels ready.
Is my VC ready?
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama kabalansi? Nkuwaire 5,000 Mama, nkuwaire 5,000.
Ompaire 5,000.
Abantu abakulu atandise obuyayi mwena.
Obuyayi obulira.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko
Aba
mu bibozi sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
My name is Sally. I have been a teacher at your school for the last 6 years. I give my voice, my passion in shaping the future of our children.
Jina langu ni Moses. Mimi ni security guard kwa kampani yako. Nimefanya kazi hapa miaka 10 sasa. Kazi yangu inaanza wakati watu wengi wamelala.
Erinnya lyange nze Wanjiri Paulo. Ndi omu ku bazimbi bo wano. Era nakakola naawe emyaka 3. Omulimu gwange ngukolera mu bugubi bw'amaanyi nnyo. Era wenkolera ensobi nyinza okufuna obuvune obw'amaanyi ennyo.
Non-compliant employers should apply for amnesty before 11th May 2026 to qualify for up to 100% penalty waiver. Download the self-assessment tool from amnesty.nssfug.org or call 0800 286 773. NSSF, 40 years making lives better.
Looking for a vacation of a lifetime? Cross the equator and discover Pineapple Bay Resort. Enjoy exceptional life's luxuries. Spend quality time with family, friends, or even that special someone. Get in touch with nature with our range of outdoor activities. The calming tranquility of water, breathtaking views, moving memories around campfires. It's all here. Plus, a club experience like no other at Pineapple Bay Clubhouse. It's a whole vibe. You can hire any of our 3 VIP cruise boats for groups of 10, 14, or 25 people. Or you can cruise out with Swipe on a luxury yacht for 12 people. Our premium boats are all safety compliant. Make your next vacay an all-round experience at Pineapple Bay, located on Bulago Island, right in the midst of Lake Victoria. Talk to us today.
Thank you very much for watching Live at 9 tonight. From me and the team, it's good night. Up next is Saturday Night Live.